Hey everyone, welcome to another Moment with Michelle. We've been talking about the Enneagram. Now, the Enneagram is personality typology built around values. We understand that we're motivated by our values. So the Enneagram has 9 types based on 9 different values. And what we know about human beings is that when our value gets threatened or in some way challenged, we begin to feel vulnerable. And when we feel vulnerable, we start to overcompensate. So today we're going to talk about type 6s. Now I want you to think about who you were in your 20s. When you look at the Enneagram, any type in the Enneagram, it helps you identify who you are and where you land if you think about yourself in your 20s. Hey Janetta. So type 6s, they're dependable, faithful, fun, dutiful. They're reliable, responsible, steady. Seems like none of us were any of that in our 20s, but you'll know if it's you. Undemanding, honest, orderly, consistent. They value community and are practical people. So you might be an Enneagram Type 6 if you're always imagining and planning for the worst. If you say yes out of obligation. If you act quickly in crisis but then fall apart later, you might be an Enneagram Type 6. If you're generally not comfortable with extremes, or if you feel like you're ping-ponging back and forth between whoever the influencer is in the moment, you know, that any given moment things change depending on who's in charge. Or you might be an Enneagram 6 if being sure you made the right decision feels impossible. And the last one I'm going to mention is you might be an Enneagram Type 6 if you have to know people for a long time before you can trust them. Now, Enneagram Type 6s value commitment. They value this faithful commitment. That's who they are, and that's what they are becoming. That's what they want, Enneagram Type 6. And when that gets challenged, the commitment, the faithful commitment, then they will move into this vulnerable place of fearful fanaticism. They are the ones that are running all the what if, what are the worst case scenario kind of ideas through their mind. So they overcompensate with this constant worry. Now, the Enneagram Type 6, we call the loyalist, or at least that's what I call them. They have a superpower that we all need, and basically they're the super glue. They're the super glue that holds everything together. Because remember, they're dependable, they're honest, they're loyal, they're practical, they're responsible. But when their value of faithful commitment gets challenged, they move into this very worried place, and they're constantly spinning in their head. So if you happen to be raising an Enneagram Type 6, if you're a parent of what you think is an Enneagram Type 6, I want to give you some tips. It is going to be really, really important for you to be dependable and consistent. So if you're one of those people that are a little more spontaneous, but you're raising an Enneagram Type 6, they need you to be dependable and consistent. Keep your word and be honest. The other tip is notice what makes them feel comfortable and confident and brave. And then recreate that for them so they can have more experiences of that confident, brave moment. And then finally, I would say be supportive and reassuring, but don't overprotect them. So those are great ways to raise a Type 6. That will help them grow up and be confident in who they are. Now, if you are a Type 6, if you are an Enneagram Type 6, now let me back up. The whole purpose of an Enneagram is not so that we know our number and can put it on social media. It is because it's a personal development. It helps us understand what we did to put ourselves in a box and how we're going to get out of it. So here are some tips for those of you who are Type 6s for your own personal growth, for your own personal development. Number 1, I would say, to build self-confidence in your decision making because you're never feeling quite sure about your decision. The first thing I would say is keep a record. Write it all down. Write down every time you enjoyed good results from one of your decisions. And then also write down every time you survived the fallout from a bad one. Keep a running list. to remind yourself, hey, I can make this decision. If it goes good or it goes bad, I can live through it. So I can make this decision. That's a great tip for Enneagram 6s. The other thing is limit your exposure to the 24-hour news. We should probably all do that, but definitely type 6s because it feeds your anxiety, your worry. So whatever feeds your anxiety, or maybe it's movies, books, media that reinforces anxiety, man, limit that in your world. And then the third thing is, when you're playing the role of the devil's advocate, when you're doing the what ifs, which, by the way, we all need, every team, every family needs, but when you're doing that, acknowledge the positive dimensions of the situation or the idea or the project or the plan, because pretty soon people quit wanting to come up with ideas, quit developing their creativity because they are afraid you're going to shoot it down. So just acknowledge the positive and then go into the what ifs, the devil advocate stuff. We need type 6s. I said they're super glue for the world. They hold the world together. We need you. And we need you to understand the moments that you get into a box that you don't want to be in and push yourself to get out of it. I'm Michele Gooch with Life by Design. I help people create direction, kind of straighten their path to where they want to go in their life. And I would love to partner with you in that. You can find me at www.lifebydesign.guru. lifebydesign.guru. Next Wednesday at 1, we will talk about type 7s. See you then.